love 3D animation from the 2000s, and I've made this known. Some people will say, oh, it just looks off. But you know what looks off? This? I mean, this is clearly a green screen, right? What's going on?
Oh my god.
Dramatic reveal. You fell for it, didn't you? Does it say gullible on the ceiling? No, it actually says, be cringe, have fun. That's what we always do, and we're doing it again today.
Your videotaping the show.
I just realized, if this is your first video of mine that you're watching, that reveal doesn't make sense at all. Oh well, butt lovers. Welcome to Lore, the series where we explore shows no one else is brave enough to. As always, my videos are not intended for kids, and if you're an adult that doesn't understand this but feels rage for some reason, feel free to let me know in a comment how much time you think I'm wasting, while you yourself also waste yours. It's always a delight. Miss Spider's Sunny Patch Friends aired new episodes from 2004 to 2009, and the series was based on the books by David Kirk, which we'll also talk about. But first, let's talk about the movie pilot that aired in 2003.
We come to this place.
They wasted no time getting to the origin story and abandonment drama. I don't know why I'm surprised they didn't wait for a flashback episode when Dinosaur Train covers all their bases right in the theme song. Once upon a time, there was a spider. Her name was Miss Spider. Okay. Sitting on her web, she still heard going. some cries and said, sounds like a baby dragonfly. She adopted him and the one with weird teeth. We already have 5 kids. What's another 3? That's not the vibe of the music in the movie at all. It actually sounds like this. Ow. Ow. I don't know what they were saying, but I understand that they were trying to sound like different bugs, okay? And it bugged me. I'm glad the TV show has much better music. Anyway, the movie opens with Miss Flora Spider marrying Holly. Look at her wedding veil, that's a web. I love that. You know who I don't love? Spiderus, also known as Flashback Mary to the internet, and he used to look even more horrifying if you can believe it. Look at his pointy teeth.
No! How do I look?
Like the devil!
And get this, his villainous ways started with the bitterness that Miss Spider didn't choose him.
Why Holly and not me?
He's a spin cell. At the wedding, everyone besides Spiderus is having so much fun. I'm not gonna lie, the dance floor is being torn to shreds. They're throwing their thorax all the way back. What brings the mood down is that they have to hide from a chicken. Believe it or not, there are stakes in this mushy, cozy show. From predators to predators who want to eat you. Would you rather be in the woods with a giant people-eating chicken or Spiderus, the high-value alpha? Miss Spider, Holly, and Miss Spider's brother and mom scare away the chicken, but uh-oh, there's a chicken egg they didn't notice. Time skipped to Miss Spider having 5 eggs of her own, and she's very stressed out making the egg sacs because her mother, Betty Beetle, couldn't teach her this spider thing. Traumatic flashback of a baby Miss Spider crying out for her mom. Her spider mother abandoned her, and now she's worried she's gonna be a piece of shit too. We see how great of a mother Betty Beetle is to baby Miss Spider in the flashback when she comforted her, and also in the present where she comforts her daughter again, assuring her that she's gonna be a great mom. Listen to this shit. When the 5 spider babies hatch, they all pop out with hats. This one even has glasses, bows, and also Pansy and Snowdrop, the 2 that look the same, are twins, just because they look the same. Their other 3 siblings were also born at the same time. Sure, dude. Also, before the spider eggs hatched, Spiderus tried to eat one of them.
Jesus Christ!
Why doesn't she love me? Why am I the bad guy? Just because I tried eating one of her children? I'll have my eggs sunny side up, please. I hate you, James Charles. The kids find the chicken egg and they're very sad because the mother chicken left it. But their parents assure them to leave it where it is. Squirt, the tiny green child, is struggling with this moral conundrum and sneaks out to do the opposite of what his parents said. While Squirt is traveling with this egg, he runs into this disgusting drunk who coughs a tonsil stone at his face, I'm not even joking, blew his nose right into his arm and rubbed it on the egg. If I ever see this hellspawn on grub again. It is on site. I'm not joking. I will take kickboxing classes just so I can crush this bug with as much force as possible. Be good to bugs. Be good to bugs? How about I use my discernment? Unfortunately, this is something Squirt could not do, and he takes the drunk worm's advice to go into the snaky woods. So at this point, Squirt thinks that the snake might be the egg's mother. The snake looks so villainous as she announces to Squirt that she's going to feed the egg to her babies. Wait a second. Aww, she's a mother? If this snake's villainous monologue didn't fall apart after you thought about the intention for more than a second, it definitely does after the egg cart rolls over her tail, which is how she was defeated. Very anticlimactic. I'm gonna eat that thing you were trying to protect, 'cause I'm a big, bad guy. After Squirt caught up to the runaway egg, we have no time to process that snake boss battle speedrun we just witnessed, because Squirt meets Bounce, Shimmer, and Dragon. And dude, Squirt has a crush on Shimmer. Weird choice considering I know where this story goes, and guess what? They're gonna be siblings.
What the fuck?
His mom's gonna adopt her. Why would they do that? Luckily, that weirdness does not continue in the TV show, but it's still weird. On the flip side, one piece of weirdness I did enjoy is that Bounce, Shimmer, and Dragon acted more like Oliver Twist orphans and less like Santa Paws orphans. What do you mean by that? Talk like a normal person, you scream at your screen. I thought they were gonna act helpless and scared, but instead they greeted Squirt like they were about to rob him. So these kids have clearly seen some shit. Not the vibe I was expecting. This movie truly shocked me from start to finish. Spiderus then captures Dragon in his web and tries to eat him. Bounce, who's a bed bug, stops him by biting his leg. These villains so far have been so easily thwarted, but honestly, 3 separate villains in one movie is 3 more villains than I thought there'd be in the entirety of the Miss Spider franchise. I don't remember these stakes, but that's surprisingly not the most shocking part. We're getting there. This movie decides we've been way too easy on these orphans. Let's throw in a snowstorm right in the middle of spring because we hate them. Somebody has to humble these parentless bastards. The kids were saved by the stink bug named Stinky, and at first I really liked this guy. He tried to use flowers to cover up his stench. He was being hospitable. But then he called Shimmer pretty in a really weird way.
You're very sweet and kind, and a very pretty jewel beetle.
I know. She knows.
Hey guys, can we leave her alone? Everywhere she goes in this movie, Shimmer expects this because she's a jewel beetle. All my buds with a real fear of bugs, please skip to the timestamp on screen, because listen, I'm about to show them. I'm giving you some time. We can all agree jewel beetles are pretty, but personifying them to constantly get comments on their appearance, especially when Shimmer is at most 9 years old, not a fan. Spiderus admits he tried to eat Squirt and his friends to Miss Spider, his mother, and Holly, his father, but somehow this gets swept under the rug. They ask the man who tried to cannibalize their child for help finding him. Are they stupid? Then Spiderus, who never hid the fact that he was evil, tried to kill Holly. This backfired and Spiderus fell into a ditch, and guess what? Miss Spider and Holly helped him out. When kindness leads to being a pushover this much, it really bothers me. Spiderus contemplates trying to kill Holly again, and Miss Spider has to talk him off the ledge and spell it out for him. I will never be with you, dude. But she continues to pep talk him and assure him that he will meet his special somebody. I think she might have said somebuggy, but the cute wordplay will not distract me from how fucking weird this is. Now get ready to rage, because Miss Spider kissed Spiderus on the cheek. She even takes a pause on her whole trying to find her kid thing to witness Spiderus fall in love with another bug. Aw, who cares? Your kid could be in trouble and you slow your roll for this man who tried to kill your husband because you're happy? He's happy? Holly, you are more patient than me, because what is this nonsense? My initial fan theory before I watched the TV show is that Miss Spider and Spiderus, prior to Miss Spider getting married, have definitely explored each other's bodies. Because what is this emotional investment in his love life? I say let him die. Anyway, the children are saved because the chicken decides not to attack them after she realized they saved her kid. And Miss Spider and Holly adopt Bounce, Shimmer, and Dragon with no hesitation. I really love this family, especially in the TV show. The TV show is much better. But first, let's get into the books that started it all. The first Miss Spider book was published in 1994, and it all started with Miss Spider's Tea Party. Right away, this 2-page pre-story spread is everything to me. I want this on a dress. Just looking at this gives me immense joy. I don't know why. First page immediately brings the mood down because Miss Spider at this point in her life is friendless. Aww. Every bug thinks she wants to eat them, but she just wants to have a tea party with them. She scares 2 beetles, which is especially heart-wrenching because her mother is a beetle. She'd never heard a beetle. These books acknowledge the existence of humans with these toy bugs that faked her out. She thought they were real bugs. More insult to injury. This is the worst day of her life. So wait a minute, at this point the bugs are chilling in a house? I can't even think about the world we're in because she just keeps getting sadder and sadder, leading to this picture. This is devastating. If you saw this as a child, you deserve financial compensation for your therapy because why would they subject you to this? What is this? Miss Spider was only able to make a friend when this moth's wings were soaked, so he couldn't fly away. Finally, now that I got you right where I want you, would you like some tea? And they had a lovely time together, so the moth told all the other bugs that they were wrong. Miss Spider is really nice, guys. So Miss Spider can finally have her tea party. Yay! The other bugs must feel like assholes. This entire story is pretty much like Bruce from Finding Nemo, except Miss Spider never had those hunting instincts to begin with. I think her entire family are vegetarians. Don't ask me how that works. Miss Spider's Wedding was published in 1995, and the entire book reads like the best love poem I've ever read. From the couple's meet cute when a friend set them up, but Holly was too shy to say hello. Listen to Miss Spider's reaction to his voice. And when she heard his little voice, it seemed to her somehow that she had known him always, though they'd never met till now. Then we meet Miss Spider's friend May, who's a total asshole. Like, oh my god, I don't know why she's friends with her, seriously. I'm glad she was killed off in the TV show. Meaning, we've never seen her. May first yells at Miss Spider because she should be married by now, immediately establishing her as an overjudgmental, overstepping bitch. But it's hammered home after Miss Spider tells May that she's seeing Holly, leading May to lament. How can I stop her folly? She's desperate if she's dating Holly. So what's May's problem with Holly? A page or so later, it's revealed that May wrote off Holly, even though he's an incredibly nice guy, because he's short. Wow. May is not a fan of short kings, and I may have to kick her ass. Meanwhile, Miss Spider and Holly are busy being unproblematic and in love. Then Holly held Miss Spider's hand. I'll say no more, you understand, for private moments between spiders should not be witnessed by outsiders. And look at this picture. Good for them. May, still unconvinced, thinks Spiderus Reeves is an eligible bachelor for her friend. Look at those striking blue eyes. That prominent, alpha-like cleft chin, and his sheer size. May likes them big, May likes them chunky. The problem is he gets big and chunky from eating bugs. Good job, May, you fucking played yourself. Bet you wished you approved of Holly's vegan ass now, huh, May? This is my impression of Spiderus telling us what he's gonna eat.
It's gonna be me.
One cool Easter egg is in this crowd shot of all these bug women admiring him, we see his future wife Spindella. Miss Spider, as you already know, rejected Spiderus and he's super bitter about it. Cut to Holly, incredibly down bad for Miss Spider. Listen to this. Does she love me? Does she not? He could not sleep although he tried. His weary brain was occupied, envisioning her fine assets, her gentle curves, her spinnerets, those emerald eyes so deep, so green, like nothing he had ever seen, her sweet round face, that pointed nose, and lips to shame the red, red rose. Holy shit, I'm hard. Spiderus never had a chance in shit. And one last moment I think is worth mentioning in this book. When Spiderus tried to kill Holly in this, Miss Spider attacks Spiderus. We don't hear any utterance of be good to bugs. She's like, no bitch, don't touch my man. She's landing punches on his back. She's the only reason Holly is still alive. If this was movie Miss Spider, Holly would have died. Miss Spider's new car was cute, but there was nothing really new about the world other than that they drive cars, and that was never seen again in the TV show. But before we get to that TV show, I wanted to briefly discuss the spin-off book series Little Miss Spider, the first of which is simply titled Little Miss Spider, and it was published in 1999. Her origin story plays out exactly like how it did in the movie. Betty Beetle took her in, and in this book, they live in the holes in trees, which is exactly like how it is in the movie and the TV show. So I think this is when the world shifted to fully outdoors. We're in Sunnypatch, finally! The only other big reveal happened when Betty Beetle was looking around for Miss Spider's birth giver, assuming she was just lost and not abandoned. Anyway, as this was happening, baby Spiderus tried to kill little Miss Spider by sending her to get eaten by birds. So Spiderus was always an asshole from day one. In the book Little Miss Spider at Sunnypatch School, we have officially committed to the setting of Sunnypatch, which means that the whole Tea Party story does not make sense in the Sunnypatch canon. In fact, she went to school with other bugs and was revered for being the kindest. So there's no way those bugs would be hiding from her, unless she briefly ventured out of Sunnypatch for some reason and decided to return home once she saw how speciesist the rest of the world is. Standout moments as usual. Look at this pre-story 2-page spread. It made me feel so cozy. And as I keep saying, it's much closer to the TV show world. Look, it's the Snaky Woods. We've been there. We learned many bug lessons they learned in school. Some were basic, flying, stinging, blah blah blah, but allow me to read you this page. She would learn about flowers from petal to root, how to chew tasty leaves and tunnel through fruit. Like, why am I jealous? Why do I want to go to this bug school right now? This visual is like James and the Giant Peach, but if it wasn't creepy as shit. And trust me, we'll discuss James and the Giant Peach one day, because what the fuck was that? We need to unpack that. As always, Miss Spider has to cry and feel ostracized. In this instance, it's because she doesn't feel good at anything.
Oh, you stink!
After this moment of extremely low self-esteem, she casually saves someone's life. And look at this image. What is up with them and the excessive bodily fluids? And the fact that she saved a bug stuck in a water spout? Is that why the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout? To save lives? And everyone cheered. Our gifts they are many, we hop, fly, and crawl. But kindness, he said, is the finest of all. Very briefly, I have to acknowledge the design changes that I appreciate. Firstly, they confiscated Spiderus' pointy-ass teeth, and Dragon's eye color has been inverted. Both switches I prefer. It seems like the townspeople bugs are less stranger dangery too, with the exception of Ned and Ted. We're gonna go off about them. In the first episode called I'll Fly Away, these visiting dragonflies called the Aces were putting on a flying show, and Dragon realized he needs to work on flying more. He wants to be as fast as the Aces, but because he's raised by spider parents, he's not learning all he has to learn. The two adult dragonflies were so shocked to see Dragon in the care of a spider mom, and they verbalized this. Many people would respond to this, have you heard of adoption? Or inside thoughts? But the kids got into all the details from the movie. It seems like they're used to explaining this to people.
I was an orphan too.
I know the dragonflies that asked that were supposed to act as a recap for those who have not seen the movie, but it just came off rude as fuck. There were so many Full House type moments where a character will say something sad and emotional music will swell. Kinda like this.
I thought you were my best bug buddy for life.
After Dragon revealed that he got separated from his dragonfly family after he crashed into a lake, in the present, he crashes into another body of water. Skill issue. And then he asks his mom and dad if he can leave with the Aces. And they get freaked out. They say, you're way too young. And we get another Full House type moment.
I knew this day would come. I just never thought it would be so soon.
I love these moments so much. They are my bread and butter. The toilet's clogged again? Of course, Dragon changes his mind by the end of the episode, but it's clear the kind of bugs they are will make a real impact on their story and their lives. Except for maybe Bounce, because even though he's hyperactive and silly, I don't think they'll address what he uses those massive chompers for, other than yapping and the occasional bite. I'm a jewel beetle. I shimmer. I'm a dragonfly. I zip through the air.
I like eating blood.
The B episode is called All Pupid Out, in which Shimmer and Squirt take in a baby caterpillar, and their dynamic is lovely. No residual weirdness from the movie, where he had a crush on her. Miss Spider warned her kids that caring for a caterpillar is a lot of work. But once she heard that the little one was an orphan, she convinced her husband Holly to let them keep her until she fully transforms into a butterfly and flies away. Every day, the caterpillar that they named Cookie eats her weight in food. She ate their blanket, clothes, toys. But their biggest breaking point is when she got extremely massive and started molting and leaving her skin everywhere. The way they animated this was also disgusting. She inflated herself like a balloon, and the sound effects were too crunchy and juicy at the same time. Timon and Pumbaa would have had a field day with this one. That's actually the whole reason they took Cookie in. If they didn't, they said she would have been bird feed. The kids have a surprising amount of sass, especially Dragon. Cookie overheard them talking shit, but Dragon flew in excitedly. Did you finally tell her to bug off? She looked kind of sad. When Cookie emerged from the cocoon, she apologized for being a huge pain in the ass. The kids didn't even have to apologize for what she overheard. In this episode, no lesson was learned. Also, isn't it strange that Miss Spider and Holly gave the responsibility of taking care of another living creature to their kids? They treated Cookie as a pet. Interesting. In the very next episode, season 1, episode 2, Miss Spider and her mother, Betty Beale, were out for lunch for this show's version of Mother's Day called Bug Your Mom Day. And guess what? The bee waiter wasn't like, I couldn't help but notice your different bugs. No, he minded his own business. Please clap. Wiggle from the very beginning just wanted to make his mom a simple card.
What's it supposed to be? Well, I figured I'd just keep chewing on it till it looks pretty. Better keep chewing.
Dragon's always such a fucking savage. Dragon's matter-of-fact roasts are no match for this kid's sincerity. Wiggle's gift ended up being the true winner, even though his card was half-eaten. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Did you eat this? Yeah, I hope you like it. In the episode Cloudy Day and Sunny Patch, it's Shimmer's birthday, which they call a hatch day. And she's never celebrated hers, so there's a lot of pressure for it to be perfect. It rains, she cries, but it's all wrapped up in a sweet bow when she realizes how much her family loves her. And then the sun comes out and they sing their version of happy birthday to her. Heartwood Day is celebrated in Sunny Patch when a tree falls. It reminds them that life is precious, and they spread well wishes and hugs, and they have a planting party where they exchange gifts and plant new trees. There's also this legend about an unseen love bug that emerges from the fallen tree to bite a bug and make them fall in love. Similarly, in the season 2 episode Humbug, on winter solstice night, the dream bug emerges to reward kids who have completed good deeds with good dreams. This leads into, of course, a sort of retelling of A Christmas Carol. But there is no ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. Spiderus just had a bad dream, so he delivered the berries to the earwigs like he said he would, and not only was his dream better, but his life was better too. He isn't at the point of his self-growth journey to realize that good deeds shouldn't just be done so you can get something out of it, but to keep him from doing bad things for now, we really have to hammer home the point of karma. It's the only shit that's clicking in his brain. It's also hilarious that his super great dream consisted of him being complimented by people and then kissed by his wife. He legitimately doesn't want or expect much, and the only thing that's stopping him is himself. Incels, if you're watching, did you hear that? Did you hear that lesson? Maybe people don't want to be around you because your personality sucks ass? During Holly Jolly Day, there is a Holly Berry Feast. In the season 3 episode Bugversity, we see Hug-a-Bug Day, where they dress up as a different type of bug and share facts about that bug to embrace and appreciate differences. Part of their unity poem is, some bugs are helpful and some bugs are pests, which doesn't scream appreciation to me, but what do I know? A lot of Miss Spider is centered around kindness, community, and instilling morals. Some episodes do a better job of this than others, but the musical swells, especially after Bounce says something incredibly stupid, will never not get me.
What if the sun doesn't come back?
Oh, it will bounce. Don't worry.
Or what if it doesn't?
He just said it will. In the episode A Star Fell on Sunny Patch, when Squirt finds a bottle cap, they all mistake it for a star. Bounce, Shimmer, and Dragon are convinced that Squirt is responsible for the star falling out of the sky because he made too many wishes. And they are really mad over this. I think this selection of siblings was no coincidence because even though they didn't spell it out, the vibe was very much like, great job, Squirt, now the star is an orphan, like us. Also, Holly and Squirt sang a killer duet called the Starfell song. If you haven't heard it, I highly suggest you look it up. Here is a lyric that will live in my head forever. How do you put a star back in the sky? Is there a way that a spider can fly? And why do great clouds sometimes cry? Oh my god. Okay, imagery. Okay, personification. Okay, class, how did that song make you feel? Was there a sense of wonder or longing, perhaps? Class, it's time for recess. What did you bring for lunch? I brought Cheetos. In the episode A Little Slow, Shelly the snail joins the kids on their nature walk. Dragon zooms ahead while Squirt stays behind with Shelly. While the other kids are zooming through the forest, which results in them getting lost, Shelly, Squirt, and Miss Spider are taking in more of nature, learning as they go. This is one of the best episodes. So cozy and great lesson. It's like Tortoise and the Hare if that shit made sense. In Family Circus, Squirt's siblings call him out for his main character complex. If I had a nickel for every time a main character had a main character complex, I'd have way more than 2 nickels. I'd be freaking rich. But here's the thing. The pilot movie focused on Squirt. Squirt is featured in the most episodes. Out of all the kids, Squirt is the main character. His adopted siblings come in a close second, then Glasses and Blue Guy in third, and the twins, dude, they didn't do a damn thing until episode 10. So is what Squirt's doing considerate of his siblings' feelings? No. But is he wrong about being the main character? Also, no. But anyway, the lesson. This is the first time we saw Holly and Miss Spider get serious. Their solution is to incentivize being good. They move up this web for a reward. And what brings their parenting to the next level for me is in season 1, episode 9, they brought back this web, this reward web, and Miss Spider and Holly added themselves to the web too. This shows their children that they hold themselves to this standard as well. It's not a kids versus adult thing, it's an entire family working together to be better. In season 2, Squirt befriends a no-see-em fly that's so tiny no one can see her. The entire episode, all of his siblings and also his parents think he just has an imaginary friend. She doesn't speak up or pick up items until the very end, causing them all to gasp and admit to their wrongdoing. As Horton would say, a person's a person no matter how small. Such a sweet sentiment written by such an evil scumbag. If Dr. Seuss was ever brought back, he'd have to catch the hands of a stupid silly clown who doesn't wear pants. This is a very special episode because of the sweet lesson, strange execution, and also I learned about a new bug. New bug just dropped. Where? I've learned so many bug facts throughout this show, it's actually crazy. I went into this expecting just slice of life. I got so much more. In Captain Sunnypatch, the snake was once again easily thwarted, this time just from getting dizzy. The snakes pose no actual threat. But in Captain Sunnypatch Flies Again, we get a wonderful Wiggle moment where he faces his fear to save his brother. This was a long time coming because Wiggle's 2 main character traits are being overly emotional, and then more specifically than that, being afraid of everything. Season 3's Bounce Back is not for the lactose intolerant because boy oh boy does it get cheesy. Bounce is down in the dumps, but the way he explains this is that he lost his smile because it feels like he'll never smile again. A moment of silence for this menacing toothy grin. Moving on, they realize they have to figure out what made Bounce sad in the first place. And guess what? It was Squirt in the beginning of the episode when he said dolls were for babies. And when Squirt realizes words can hurt, it's very dramatic.
Mom, I'm the one who made Bounce lose his smile.
It's true, Mom.
I teased him about playing with Tiny Tick.
Oh dear.
Squirt, that's an act of terrorism, you know that. Miss Spider comforts her children, and after an apology, Bounce not only gets his smile back, but he starts to sing. This song ends with all of them staring into the camera as they command,
Smile!
No.
What the hell is even that?
The episode Secret Frog was a 2-parter where the kids befriend Felix the vegan frog, but the episode ends with them not telling their parents.
Until we figure out how to tell Mom and Dad, we'd better keep Felix a secret.
Why did I fully gasp when that happened? I couldn't believe they ended an episode like this. They're convinced that the other bugs in Sunnypatch are too afraid of frogs to hear them out. Another notable thing in this episode is even though Spiderus has done worse to Miss Spider and Holly, this is the one time they tell him off a bit.
What? If there really is a frog out there, how could you have left the children alone?
I think they expect more from him in season 2. You'll see why later. The Secret Frog arc picks up in the very next episode, a 2-parter called The Big Green Bug. At first they tried to disguise Felix the frog, so so that he can attend the Be Good to Bugs Day party. But he wasn't very good at pretending. Even though Spiderus was convinced, Miss Spider noticed almost immediately. But when her kids explained that he's nice and he doesn't eat bugs, she had no problem befriending the frog, but she was really hurt that her kids lied to her. Understandably so, my feelings would be hurt too. She never gave them a reason not to trust her. She's like the most forgiving person on the face of the planet. So the entire family are now friends with Felix. This arc concludes in the episode Be Good to Bugs and Frogs. This takes place right after the Be Good to Bugs Day, despite it being the season 2 finale that aired over a year later. Spiderus got over his frog fear very quickly. I thought they would have saved that for the end of the episode. It was pretty anticlimactic, although he does have a song, so this journey was not in vain.
Could I have been wrong?
The rest of Sunnypatch are still afraid of frogs, especially after they saw Felix's parents accidentally trample their holiday celebration. But after Holly says there's no use in them being scared, they're cured. They are cured of their justified fear of animals that want to eat them.
You know, Mr. Mantis, there's no use being a scaredy bug.
Oh, okay, when you put it like that. This episode escalates when Miss Spider explains to Felix's mom and dad that Felix has been feeling very misunderstood by them. And when they promise to do better, as if on cue, all of the residents of Sunnypatch start to attack the frogs because they think that the frogs are attacking Miss Spider. The frogs, to prove the bugs wrong, attack back. And it wasn't out of self-defense. They weren't actually hurting the frogs. They just hurt the frogs' feelings. But in the end, guess what? They all apologize and they're all friends. Aww. And now Felix is in a better place with his parents, who also go vegan, or at the very least they hunt bugs that Felix hasn't already befriended. But this is not the most important part.
What?
We'll get to that in this next section.
What? What are you talking about?
In season 1, episode 3, Something Stinky in Sunnypatch, some bug keeps eating all the bark and Spiderus accuses Shimmer. And he spreads this rumor all over town. Dude has a wife and he still goes out of his way to be a bully to children. Holly and Miss Spider speak out against this fully grown man attacking your daughter challenge. In this series, we see a lot more of Spiderus' wife, Spindella, and she's just lovely. She's so nice. She loves Miss Spider's kids, and throughout the first 2 seasons, she keeps dropping that she really wants to have kids with Spiderus one day. Good luck with that. In the episode Mare and Rose, Spiderus really wants to bring back this rose for his wife. Even though he really wants to make his wife happy with this gift, he listens to Shimmer and doesn't pluck it to keep it alive. He also follows through with Shimmer's plan to show his wife the flower, and the two can instead plant seeds. Even though he didn't come up with this plan on his own, the way he finally trusted the children, and the sheer happiness he got from his wife's delight, shows his new willingness to grow. But more so than just that, this show completely 180s the threatening aura of Spiderus. When he threatens to eat Squirt and bounce, Squirt turns to his brother and assures him, "Don't worry, Spiderus is just trying to scare us." I honestly appreciate this approach, because if they're trying to redeem him, they really have to lessen the severity of the first crimes he's committed. Now they're playing it off like he's always been a curmudgeon. They took away his sharp teeth and they're rebranding, baby. Oh, when he tried to catch the spider egg in his mouth, he was just trying to catch it. That wasn't... No. You thought he was gonna eat... No. In a scary tale, the kids went around Sunnypatch scaring Grub, Ted, Ned, Stinky, and Spiderus. Even though their parents were disappointed, I thought it was quite refreshing. Especially when Spiderus, completely unprompted, confessed that he scared the kids first, and he owned up to it and made it up to them by gifting them with a new ball and playing with them. I wasn't expecting to like this character. The show's making me look like a fool. In the final episode of season 1, Bugaboo Day Play, we hear Spiderus' thespian roots, which makes a lot of sense. Dude even looks like one of those fucking theater masks. Anyway, in this episode, he helps Shimmer with her musical. His baritone ass absolutely carried, and this movie misled me entirely. I had no idea this terrifying creature would be so wholesome. And the character development and pacing is actually great. Listen, I know it wasn't planned from the start with just how evil they made him in the movie, and in the books they even made him an evil baby. But I'm really enjoying the direction of the TV show. Spindella once again makes it known that she wants to be a mom. Spiderus isn't opposed to this idea, but he wants to take things slowly. A reasonable approach, especially since he has a lot of growing to do as a giant man-child. Spindella offers to babysit so Holly and Miss Spider can go out on their anniversary. While she's watching the kids, Spiderus' needy ass keeps interrupting her to ask about the most ridiculous shit. As she is watching these children, he comes up to her like, "Wow, why won't you take the food out for me?"
Bruh.
Luckily, Spindella is not entertaining this. She wants to be a mom, but she doesn't want to be a mom to her husband. She knows he's just throwing a fit for attention and continues to put the kids first. By the end of the episode, though, he does have fun with the kids and reads them a bedtime story, foreshadowing that being a father might not be the worst thing for him. Now, here's where we get to the place we left off in the Frog arc. During the season 2 finale, they reveal that Spindella and Spiderus are going to have kids. He seems thrilled about this.
You're going to be a daddy long legs.
What you said. In their next appearance, we just see them with the kids, which seemed very odd to me. They made such a big deal about announcing the pregnancy, but they skipped the hatching? The episode Pitch and Itch is when we see one of Spiderus' children for the first time. Belladonna was interested in a magic carpet, which is Ned and Ted's latest scam. And Spiderus, just wanting to make his daughter happy, and also being very easily tricked, gets one. And to make matters worse, the leaves they used for this scam are poison ivy. Dude, is there a jail in Sunnypatch? I'm so sick of Ned and Ted. You don't even know the half of it. I'm gonna go off later. I just can't believe these two are the real bad guys of Sunnypatch. And Spiderus ended up being a loving father. I really wish we got to see more of Spiderus taking on the trope of panicky, expectant father, helping out Spindella as the babies arrive instead of them just spontaneously spawning. Feels like a wasted opportunity. So you remember how 2 seconds ago I said they didn't make a big enough deal about Spindella and Spiderus having kids, and there should have been a video about their hatch day? Well, guess what there is. It just aired extremely out of order. Also, I was right on the money with Spiderus being a nervous dad-to-be doing entirely too much. In Season 3, Episode 3, Bug Fellows, we hear more from Spiderus' kids. They're not babbling anymore, they're speaking in complete sentences, and Mandrake, the little baby that looks exactly like baby Spiderus, talks in a British accent while his sisters don't. The genetics in this world are hilarious. Also, the sisters are twins, while the brother isn't a twin or triplet, despite all of them being born on the same day. In this episode, Spiderus also tries to protect his child from a snake, and he also apologizes for being mean to Stinky, so at this point, he's pretty much fully reformed. However, a big stupid idiot move of Spiderus was in the episode Snake Charmer, where he, in an attempt to prove to his own children that he's braver than Holly, gets them a special gift from the snaky woods. But what he didn't know is that the gift he brought back for his kids was a snake egg. Whoops. The episode titled The Most Perfect Parent was, believe it or not, about Spiderus. And he really proves this to be the case. He's painting the nursery, and when Spindella leaves for a few days, he has memorized the specific ways each of the babies must be cared for. But as he was parenting without Spindella, he began spiraling, despite doing nothing wrong. Seeing him run back and forth between Miss Spider and Holly to ask them for advice and take notes on their parenting was very amusing. It's also good to know that he looks up to them as parents, because who wouldn't? And the few things Miss Spider and Holly could work on, I actually think would come to Spiderus naturally. I don't think Spiderus would let anybody talk shit about his kids. I'm so pleasantly surprised. And now I'm a little pissed off at the James Charles comparison. Spiderus doesn't deserve that. Maybe movie Spiderus, but not this guy.
We live in a society.
In Season 1, Episode 3, when Wiggle was afraid of everything, Squirt said he pulled a Miss Muffet. This is them acknowledging the existence of humans and their fear of bugs. In Episode 4, Country Bugkin, a candy wrapper flies into Sunnypatch. A cockroach named Sweetie emerges from this wrapper and talks about her trash-eating life in the city. Something else that's fun is that the Sunnypatch wiki says that she's specifically from Portland, Oregon. I don't know how they know that, but one of these days I'm gonna get one of these wiki moderators to come on my little lore show so I can pick their brain about the research process. I looked at all the media and they still know more. How? Anyway, Squirt loved hearing about Sweetie's city life, and unfortunately, because Sweetie's a girl, she kissed Squirt on the cheek and he blushed, and she was never seen again. I totally thought they'd have a city episode. I would have loved that. I feel like it was a wasted opportunity, or maybe it was just a limitation of this type of animation, because specifically animating humans in this 3D style was very challenging. In Stalking the Beanstalk, Shimmer and Bounce were scammed by the Ant brothers Ned and Ted. They thought they were getting magic beans, so naturally I thought this was a back in the Magic Beanstalk parody. But no, these beans are actually moth cocoons. The real reason I mention this is that the real-life children's toy, Jumping Beans, are exactly that. These seeds with moth larvae inside them were sold to many people who didn't know what they were, and that makes my skin crawl. In Antuition, once again, the ants Ned and Ted led the entire town astray. They said that winter was not coming when they were in fact wrong. And the final slap in the face was them eating all the other bugs' food, the food that they gathered for the winter. No punishment for them, despite the fact that they almost cost the other bugs their lives. The only reason everyone didn't freeze to death is because Miss Spider collected enough food for everyone. She's a mother to all of Sunnypatch at this point. In Season 1's What a Tangled Web, Squirt needs to find all the webs he left behind and clean them up by eating them, which is something spiders actually do, by the way. And in one scene, a caterpillar looks at him with disgust over this. Why are all these adult bugs so hateful? One thing we repeatedly see in the Sunnypatch school is that the kids are learning about different bug cultures, so that insensitivity does not occur. So that makes this hatred even worse. Like, this guy wasn't uninformed or ignorant. He's just a hater. Fuck this background character that never shows up again. One other thing I noticed about Bug Society is that motherly kisses are the biggest thank you a woman can give. In the Season 2 premiere, Mrs. Earwig kisses Spiderus, and Miss Spider kisses Stinky the Stink Bug. This once again recontextualizes the movie, because I read into Miss Spider kissing Spiderus as an investment in his happiness, but here they just confirm that this warmth and care is just the magic of non-absentee motherhood in Sunnypatch. There is no advanced tech in Sunnypatch, but they may be aware of the existence of it. In the Season 1 episode Flyaway Friends, we see that there are no traffic lights, but traffic is controlled with a bug holding up red and green leaves. And in the Season 2 episode A Time Telling Tale, Squirt is having a hard time managing his time. So the parents build a giant sundial. They also explain that it's a type of clock. How would the kids know what a clock is? And just so you know I'm not completely dense, I understand that the writing of this scene is for the kids watching at home, but if we have to take everything incredibly seriously, and you know we do, this means they are vaguely aware of human tech. In that one damn episode with the city cockroach, there were lights, actually. It's the only instance of lights in the show, and it's these dancing LEDs outside of a music club or something. So weird. They don't have traffic lights, they don't have flashlights, but they have fancy bar lighting. They have party lights. What the fuck? In the Season 2 episode Family Tree, we hear about how some bugs arrived in Sunnypatch on Mayflowers. Ew. Listen, I get they meant the literal flowers, but not the children dressing up as pilgrims. No! This school lesson was to get them ready to make a family tree, where they would put leaves or special things from where they hatched, or from where they were adopted. Now here are my problems. 1, where is Miss Spider's brother on this tree? They didn't include him. And number 2, they only put grandma, parents, siblings. I thought we'd learn about their ancestors. What was the point of bringing up the colonizing bugs at all? In the episode Groundbound, a crane fly named Gary injured his wing in a storm, and the doctor said he'll never be able to fly again. In Sunnypatch, it's shown that there's not a lot of accommodation for disabilities, because the doctor was pretty much like, your mobility will never be what it once was. Okay, bye. Good luck with that. But like Miss Spider's family always does, they make the world a better place. They love Barry so much, and they see how much flying means to him, so the entire episode is them brainstorming how they're gonna get him in the sky again. And their final solution was to make balloons out of spider webs. And this helps him with this change tremendously. Season 3's Giddy Up Bugs raises some questions about an unspoken bug hierarchy. Sawyer is a cow bug, like cowboy, but they're bugs. And also she's a girl. Anyway, what does Sawyer round up? She rounds up aphids. We saw them stampeding, so we can assume there's some type of animal equivalent bug in a human bug society. But it's actually not as cut and dry as that because they talk. So at first I thought, oh okay, aphids produce honeydew like the bees produce honey. That's why we see them in this farm-like setting, because of what they create for the other bugs and how it's harvested. But there's a couple of problems with that. Bees have their own homes, and their honey isn't harvested by another species. That last point, at least, is is rooted in reality. Some ants and aphids have symbiotic relationships, which is obviously very different from a bee colony, so they got me there. Maybe aphids really are like other bugs. Wait a second, why did Shimmer pat that one on the head? It feels condescending still. There's something definitely off here. And on top of that sketchiness, Ned and Ted stole the aphids because their love of food overrides all their morals, which is far too generous because obviously they have none. When will Ned and Ted get their comeuppance? In this episode, actually. Finally, some consequences. In Bumbling Bees, Ned and Ted break the honeycomb and ruin Dragon's hard work. They're pieces of shit, as usual. But what's fascinating about this episode is that the bugs were about to let them off the hook again and give them honey for free, but Ned blurts out, "We'll work for it," which Ted was not happy about. So even though they're both the worst, we now know that Ted is actually a bit worse than Ned. The Prince, the Princess, and the Bee special opens with the arrival of the Queen Bee's baby, a princess bee named Honey. Wow, they're so good at names in this series. A dragonfly named Dragon. Spider is Miss Spider.
Excuse me, she's the titular bitchular. I can't believe you forgot to say that.
At this royal greeting, Shimmer runs into another jewel beetle named Ruby, and Ruby explains to her that her parents have stopped in Sunnypatch on their way to the Big Beetle Ball in Mushroom Glen. Ruby is just giving the entire jewel beetle backstory at this point, and reveals that King Ringle and Queen Sapphire have been looking for the lost jewel beetle princess. And then it clicks, wait, they lost a jewel beetle. Shimmer is a lost jewel beetle. Ruby's parents are weirdly casual about this. Whoa, it totally could be you. Okay, bye. That's so weird, dude. I thought they'd at least offer her a ride to this big beetle ball, which is so far away, but no. Shimmer, if she wants to find out if those are her real parents, she has to find a way to get there herself. At first, Miss Spider and Holly think it's too soon for them to find a way there, but Stinky comes through in his hot air balloon. Shimmer tries to comfort her siblings by saying if she really is the princess, she'll still come over to visit. Which is brutal. Like, you're already prepared to move in with these people you don't even know. On top of that, the crew going on this quest is Felix, Stinky, Squirt, Miss Spider, Holly, Bounce, and Shimmer. I get there's limited space in the hot air balloon, but I definitely feel like Dragon should have went on this quest too. He's Shimmer's day one. This special is an almost 50-minute ordeal, so they have to raise the stakes. Oh no, the hot air balloon popped and we're going down. Ah! So now only Miss Spider, Shimmer, and Bounce will go to the ball, as the others are stuck with the B plot. When they get to the ball, the king and queen say that the only way they can confirm Shimmer is their child is if she knows where her hatch day branch is located. Before this, they are hyping her up. Like, wow, the lost princess's name is Glimmer. Shimmer's really close to that. You were really young when you got lost. Maybe you got mixed up. You were born out of a burnt oak tree. So was our daughter. Whoa! It really seemed like there was going to be a reveal, but no, she's not the princess. I thought the king and queen would be crying, but they really focused on Shimmer, who is not taking this well. Shimmer's hopes were crushed until she realized that her family does love her, and she doesn't want to leave them anyway. The side plot I didn't mention is that queen bee from the beginning snuck onto the hot air balloon, and she got into trouble, and they had to save her. There was this spider that looked like Spiderus's drag mother. Anyway, the only reason I bring this up is because when Ned and Ted heard that they brought back Honey, they got really excited, and when they saw they brought back the lost princess, the little bee who the queen bee was worrying about so much, Ned and Ted were very disappointed, and they didn't even try to hide this. To reiterate, this mother was worried to death over her newborn, and when the baby was brought back, these two losers were upset it wasn't food. If Ned and Ted have no haters, I am dead. Call me the ant bully the way I want to annihilate these ants. Holy shit. In season 3's Little Ladybug Lost, Stinky and his sister Whiffy adopt a ladybug named Grace. There were a lot of instances this season of this show highlighting sunnypatch, expanding the perspective beyond just Miss Spider's family. The core family is still my favorite, but still, it brought the world to life. It was nice to see. In the episode Bug Talk, Dragon learned how to speak Firefly. It was part of a school assignment for each of them to learn a different bug's language. Season 3 introduces us to multiple monarchs, different family dynamics. But you know what really pissed me off? And I never thought I'd say this. I need more Daddy Spiderus.
Spiderus, why did you say it like that?
He was nowhere to be seen these last few episodes. In fact, there were full episodes that didn't even feature Miss Spider. And the episodes that did were weird as fuck. There was one episode where one man dragonfly is flirting with her and kissing her hands. And she's fully blushing and flirting back in front of her husband. Holly looked so attacked because, let's be real, he was being attacked. What did you do to my comfort chip? Stop! I sure hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe. I wish I could have turned that on the entire time. I love the colors of this. But the liquid, when it bubbles up, even though it looks really cool, it's really loud. If you've been subscribed to me for a while, please let me know what you think of this setup. I love it so much. It is gonna take some getting used to, though. More closure for my old room over on the second channel. My second channel is like an open diary. I can't help but overshare. It's what I do. Have a great day, butt lovers. Bye!